Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I'm Spook.
You might remember me from the Collingwood Rant on the web, 1999 to 2006. We were part of a host of websites that covered Collingwood football matches, along with Buckley Surfers, Extreme Black and White, and the granddaddy of them all, Nick's Collingwood page.
What about Facebook?
And that was a little bit before Facebook.
No.
We have evolved, transcended to YouTube.
No, we've devolved ourselves personally.
But we are going to be covering Collingwood. As far as I know, we are the only fan website doing this. So stick with us throughout 2018. We hope it's a good year. If it's not a good year, it's probably going to be a ranty year, a Collingwood ranty year. We're going to preview games, cover games that have just happened, and look at what's happening with Collingwood in news, and we may have a surprise or two in form of a very well-known journalist. So stick with us at the Collingwood Rant. You won't regret it.
Cue funky music.
So, we are about to preview Collingwood and Hawthorn. Unfortunately, we have no prior form to go on.
No.
So we can only go on what we anticipate, given what we've seen over the last fucking decade, last 4 or 5 years. Spook, what are you expecting against Hawthorn, given what you've seen at Collingwood the last 4 or 5 years? I think it's about as good an answer you're going to get. I think you can get better than that.
Your gut reaction is a rogering. Our track record against the Hawks hasn't been great. I don't think we've beaten them.
Beaten them once since 2011.
Well, 2011 we fell across the line. We beat them last year, obviously. I can't remember what round it was early on in the year, where we were about 7,000 goals behind, and we had that amazing comeback. Most of it from we watched from a bar at the G. It was so the real stuff was too confronting. Look, some point in time things got to turn around. It's round one. I'm confident. I'm excited. Hawks probably round about where we're at. I think we can win this one. I'm confident we can win this one. I have no idea.
I'm actually, what am I expecting? I think we should smash them, honestly, but given that we're Collingwood, I'm not expecting to smash them. Hawthorn's been the bogey side since the prelim.
Since the dawn of time, really.
And I think it's really important for Collingwood, given where we are in our state of development, that we finally, like they've been our bully for the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, that we finally stand up to them and knock them flat on their asses. It's really important. Even if we lose,
early statement.
You need to make a statement. This is one of these transitional games where, in every club's development, they have teams who have been bullying them for years, and then finally turn it around. This is the game Collingwood needs to sort of stand up and go, Hawthorn's not going to be our fucking bogey side anymore. And even if it is a loss, which I don't want it to be a loss, but it's like when Dermot Brereton said to Hawthorn years ago about a match they played against Essendon.
Line in the sand.
This is the line in the sand game.
Draw a fucking line in the sand.
And that is round one, makes it even more important.
The other thing around that is that we have a very tough opening 6 or 7 rounds. Every win is going to be vitally important. Why not make a fucking statement with your round one victory? Have an emphatic fucking win.
And having said that, the things I don't want to fucking see at this club this year, number one, I don't want to see us conceding a 5, 6, 7 goal lead and then spend the rest of the bloody game
playing catch up. Yep.
Yeah, and
fuck that.
Yep. Usually, what happens with that is we fucking get within 2-3 goals, looks hopeful. We all go, yeah, we're going to come back, and then we lose by the original margin. I don't want to fucking see that. I don't want to see players like Tom Mitchell waltzing around getting 84 possessions in the game.
He does that though. But how damaging are those?
I think they're damaging enough. I want someone to sit on him. If someone needs to sit on him, I don't want to see Cyril Rioli, who was diagnosed as having his leg amputated not too long ago.
He's amputated 2 weeks ago, but he was going to be okay.
But he'll be okay for the Collingwood game. I just want to go into a game thinking, we're in control of this. We're on top of their match winners. We're not going to sit back and just go, we're going to trust in our systems because that's what does the job for us. It hasn't fucking done the job for us. So, we need to actually be proactive and look at things like Tom Mitchell and Cyril and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, look at Tom Mitchell.
Well, that's not advocating violence, but you know...
No, I'm just saying, if there was something on his elbow and you want to point it out, then maybe that was the opportunity.
Last year, the second time we played Hawthorn, he was instrumental in their win.
Yeah, that's only because he was motivated to be.
Yeah, but it's just... You need to sort of like look at it and go, you know what? I understand, and you know, Buckley comes from the Mick Malthouse school of, well, we're not going to fucking tag anyone. It's really going to be your best against our best, and all that sort of shit. No, you know what? Just fucking tag them match winners.
Take him out of the game.
Yes,
it's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's not difficult, you know. If he's going to get 40, 45 possessions, even if he's not hurting you with 75% of them, he's getting enough of them that he's hurting you with the fucking other 25%.
It's a perception thing too. Yeah. You're letting a player run amok who's winning vast amounts of footy.
And I just think sometimes, like with that, you know, he's not hurting us. I actually reckon that's a little bit of an exaggeration sometimes, because players like Mitchell and that are in the cold face. They're feeding the ball out quickly, or they're snapping out quickly. So they're not getting precision disposal out. And people go, oh, well, they're not hurting us. Well, no, they are, because they're still getting the fucking ball out and they're pushing the ball forward.
They're providing opportunities. You take that away, you limit everything.
Yeah, and that's what I really want to see. In terms of, you know, what are you expecting, like... I mean, I had a funny conversation with my brother today. He said there's nothing really seems to have changed. We don't have really any recruits or anything. Do you expect anything new in terms of personnel, other than...
Personnel's for assholes.
Dirty Harry reference.
Yeah, look, I think Jaden Stevens obviously been the shining light. I think they'll probably play him for round one. I think McClarty is probably on the cusp as well. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe one or two strange shake-ups. I think, though, ultimately, round one, you tend to play your comfortable side. So, Jared Blair will probably win the Brownlow from this game.
Yeah, I would like, you know, I know all the hype's on Stevenson, but I would actually really like to see someone like Kirby or Callum Brown.
I think Callum Brown's pre-season was exceptionally good, so he should be an almost...
But these are the guys who have had the VFL season pumped into them, so they should be a little bit further ahead in the development.
What about that other new recruit, Scharenberg?
Scharenberg? I don't know what's happening. What's happening in Collingwood?
Where is he? Where is he?
Do
you want me to go look for him?
You know, I think I saw a picture of him with Bigfoot just loping through the forest. I don't know what the... Tim Watson said something interesting about, like, you know, just sort of saying, can fucking clubs just be honest with their players who are injured? Who are you hiding it from? You know, do you really think he's saying this guy's 2 weeks away?
Jake
other clubs are going,
they're hiding it from Jake Knight.
Anyway, but I'm hoping, like, that, you know, we start to see some of that next generation. We start to see some of those guys... and Riker and Troy. But we see, you know, some of that next generation who we hope will carry us into the next 10 years of disappointment and failure.
you look, as a supporter, you it's like you've got a Christmas present when you get an early round draft pick, and you want them to be like every other fucking club's early round draft pick, just come out and be an instant gun. I think, you know, Stevenson had a couple of serviceable moments. I think they'll gamble with him to probably inject a little bit of excitement into round one for us as well. So I'm hoping that he's a bit of he has a few good moments. I'm hopeful he has
a few good moments.
Well, you can't expect too much.
I'm expecting to get 84 possessions, okay? I
expect him to run through Tom Mitchell and send his head into next week.
You're not advocating violence.
No, he'll be alright next week, but not now.
Oh, then Stevenson will probably miss 2 weeks. Like Grundy. But anyway, I think you're right. I mean, the round one team is usually the incumbent team from the previous year. I think Buckley said it himself that your round one team is not going to be your final round team, because you will see some evolution, you'll see some players coming in and all that. So I'm hoping that, you know, whatever the team we're seeing now is not the team we're going to be sticking with. I hope that there's players we've stuck with over the last 4 years. I don't mind if they fucking play, but they really got to earn their spots. They've got to really justify their selection. That hasn't always felt the case in the last 4 years. So I'm hoping that these guys really feel pressure from the next generation coming up.
Well, you want to see jostling for positions. You want to see guys.
Well, that's healthy. Yeah.
It's also a sign of some depth coming into the side as well.
But it's also one of these things. And I used to argue this years ago, you know, grand final and before that. sometimes you just got to look at the incumbent and go, okay, this is what he has to offer, and this is the new guy, and you know what, at this stage of his career, he's probably not going to offer very much less than the incumbent, but he has a generation of improvement in him, potentially. And I just think you've got to be a little bit more daring with sometimes selection. I really look at, you go back to 2006 when they drafted Daisy Thomas and Scott Pendlebury.
Yep.
But Thomas was in there from the beginning, and Thomas really injected some X factor and excitement and unpredictability in that side, which had, until that point, in terms of the list management, had been really stoic and dour and one-paced and predictable. And then suddenly you had, Daisy in there with a lot of flash and pace and excitement, and it was like, oh shit, this is all shaken up. And that has a flow-on effect, or I think others benefit from that because the opposition just don't find you as predictable as they might have anticipated.
No, that's true. And I think from a supporter point of view too, you want to see one of these fucking early draft picks do something really, really from off the bat. I'm a massive fan of DeGoey, and he just feels like every time that he's about to be on the cusp of I'm fucking arrive, something happens and he gets dragged back again. It's like a snakes and ladder game with him. But you want to see a new boy come in and just really take the game by the scruff of the neck and start showing something from the outset. Because as a supporter, that's where you start seeing when you subjected to a rebuild, you look for those shining light moments. If you put your dour old plotters out there and you think, is that what you got? Is that what I'm seeing this week? You go, all right, I'm not expecting much. But when there's somebody new in there that you just really want to see how they perform at the top level, that's when supporting during a rebuild phase is when it becomes exciting again.
And again, go back to 2006. I recall, about round 8, it was that game where Blake Carousel unfortunately got quite hit in the head and did his neck. But I think it was Pendlebury's first game.
Didn't get a free for that.
No, why would he get a free? He's a Collingwood player. But I'm pretty sure that was Pendlebury's first game. It wasn't his first, it was one of his early ones. But I recall he grabbed the ball around the back pocket, he took the Brisbane players line, he blocked like one or two, and I think Ackermanis dragged him down and was holding the ball. And you look at something like that and you thought, you got caught, but you were trying to create something. You weren't, I reckon over the years there's been too many Collingwood players who are like, I'm not going to take the onus on myself to create play, I'll just give it to you. Pressure's on you now, I'm now away from the pressure, you can take any hits or whatever. You want to see that also from players. You want to see players go, you know what, I can see in you someone who may one day win us a game. I feel really bad for Daisy Thomas because I have a Carlton friend who just cannot stand him, and I keep telling him, you don't know how good this guy was.
One of my favourite players.
This guy was so good before he hit his ankle. He was brilliant, and
one of the best finals players I've ever seen.
The great thing with Daisy for me, he was one of these really special players, and I'll put him in the category of Dacos too.
Well, they started with D.
Yeah, but in terms of
DAI, Daisy, Dacos. Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
One's a nickname, one's a surname. But they're both guys.
You're arguing semantics.
They're both guys who judge what a situation needed. I reckon there's a lot of players now who go, and I'll just dribble it through from 10 metres out, even though I don't need to, and I'll miss. Oh shit. If you watch Dacos, or if you saw Dacos' career, Dacos never did, snaps or dribbles or whatever if he didn't need to. It was only like, that was the right thing to do. That was the right decision. And Daisy was very similar to me. He always sort of went back to the flashy stuff when that's what was required. Otherwise, he did the real bread and butter stuff. I felt really bad, not bad, but I used to argue with so many people who was at Collingwood and people go, he's just really soft. He wasn't. He was constantly in packs. He was constantly, trying to get the ball out. And people didn't see that because he had, blonde hair and he was flashy and he was a Collingwood player. But in terms of our players today, the next generation coming through, I want to see this. I want to see someone who I can look at him and go,
There's flair.
I could, not just flair, but just proactivity. I just want to see a guy. It doesn't have to be massive X factor or anything. I just want to see a guy who will go, Sharon Berg's a good example. I want to see Sharon Berg one day, and it's not criticism of Sharon Berg, I'm just saying in terms of what I see from the next generation. Sharon Berg deep in the back pocket, I could handball to you, you're just from there, or I could ping a pass 50 metres and hit Pendlebury standing between two opponents. I'm going to go for that because that's going to break the game open. And that's what I want to see. I want to see a player who's going to take that chance upon himself to create something for the team, because you know what, safe players are not going to win games. It's always going to be guys who are taking the game on, but knowing when they take it on. It's going to be players who you know, this is when I go, this is when I don't, this is when I'm daring, this is when I play safe, and that's a real skill in itself.
Yeah, well, it comes down to self-belief in a lot of these cases too. That when you start being confident in your ability and what you can do and backing yourself in, then that's probably when you act. And you act a lot of the time on instinct.
Yep.
And you want players to be encouraged to be instinctful. The minute that you start slowing things down by having to think about what you got to do, that's probably when you get caught, or
yep.
you get you cough it up because you're giving it too much thought. Reaction is good.
Yep.
And a positive thing if you actually pull it off.
And that's very reminiscent of an article he sent me last year, which examined Richmond and their transition from.
How are they previous?
It's from challengers to contenders. And the article just sort of said that they examined their game plan and they realised at times they were just overthinking it. They were trying to plan it out too much. When they took a big element of that out and they really played on instinct, that's when they took the next step. And I think sometimes with Collingwood, particularly when you fucking sit there and you're watching them chip it around and getting nowhere and chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping.
You go so far backwards, you're playing last week's fucking game.
And then they end up fucking on the other side of the ground. It's like, and that guy goes, I think I'll just boot it. It's like, maybe you could have done that 19 kicks ago. When you see stuff like that, you're definitely overthinking it. That's when you do need someone like a fucking Daisy Thomas or whoever who just go, you know what, I got to break this line. Ben Johnson used to do it. I'm going to challenge this line. I'm going to try and fucking run right through it. And once I run through it, it's all going to break open because I'm going to leave my opponent behind. I'm going to draw that guy's opponent. Zones are going to break open. It's going to create opportunity. You need guys who are going to be taking the game on. Treloar should be doing this. Unfortunately,
Treloar's super weapon. He's just not allowed to do it often enough.
Unfortunately, and it's not Treloar's fault. Yeah, he for some reason he's being played more as an inside mid who gets stuck in fucking packs.
No, he's an outside.
He should be an outside. He should be maximising a player's strength. You should be looking at guys. I recall a conversation.
Don't diversify. Play them to their fucking strengths.
Yeah, I recall a conversation.
If we were coaching Collingwood, that would be our mantra, I think.
Well, I recall a conversation back in 2012. You had at the cricketers who Collingwood's most valuable player was. And determination wasn't Swan, who was coming off a Brownlow, or, Pendlebury, who was recognised as a champion, or Daisy Thomas, who was also a champion at that stage. It was Luke Ball. Mm-hmm. And Luke Ball was a gun player. I think people forget how good he was because the osteitis pubis really sort of brought aspects of his game down. But the reason Ball was so vital to Collingwood was he was in the packs. He was feeding the ball out to Pendles, to Swan, to Thomas. And they were the ones who then could use it on the outside and maximise their strengths. So what you actually had was, okay, we're going to play to each player's strengths instead of putting them in a position where they're not going to get the best out of their own game. So like Ball, his kicking had really deteriorated because of the osteitis pubis. So there's no point like playing him at half back, for example, so he can counter-attack. His best strength was on the ball, feeding the ball out. And then you had Daisy and Swan with their fucking running, or Pendles with his poise, who could just use it. I've really fucking hated the last few years watching Pendles having two free players dragging him down because he has to go inside and win his own ball. You need to engineer this so the ball's being fed to guys like Pendles and Treloar, and we can maximise their weapons. And the guys do that, obviously, like people like Adams and DeGoey.
I was about to say, it's almost as, if you had to play a scenario in this, let's just say we had a player called Taylor Adams, say, for example, and he was really fucking proficient at putting his head over the ball and dishing it out to outside runners, then maybe that would be a better solution for him other than having him running off the half-back flank and butcher kicks.
Yeah, I love Taylor. So I actually think like some of his bag kick is a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah, it's blown out of proportion. He's not that bad, but
he's one of these guys.
He has howlers.
He does have howlers, but he's one of these guys. And there's other players at Collingwood. I mean, Ben Sinclair was another example, where they could have a really good game. They could have 18 really good disposals and 2 poor ones.
People focus on the negative.
And they focus on the bad ones. But then whereas you might get someone like Pendlebury, he might have a couple of bad ones. And every player does. It's not like picking on anyone. Every player's going to have a couple of shockers in there, or clangers. But people will never look at that. They'll never focus on that. So I just reckon with Adams, sometimes it gets blown out of proportion. I mean, he does, I think, sometimes go for... he's a little bit too ambitious with his decision-making. But I mean, I guess that's also good because he's trying to create But
yeah.
I'd rather him create.
Yeah, I'd rather
in the
him
middle.
do that and fuck it up than die wondering.
But I'd also rather him do that in the middle, feeding the ball out to guys like Pendles
Totally
and Sly, and sorry, not Sly, Pendles and Trelaw and Poskin Elliott and Stevenson and all that.
Yeah, look, and maybe we'll see more of that this year. Maybe we'll see players playing in positions that actually coincide with what their strengths actually are. Not make them a diverse, I can be a multiple utility and be played anywhere, because that's maybe what is believed is required. Old-fashioned, old school enough to think that you play to the position that you're good in, you make your team better by playing.
You play to your strengths. Yeah. You know, if you don't have a...
Is it the team of champions, the champion team, whatever the fucking analogy is? But
well, that's what Malthouse is generally good at. He played guys to their strengths.
Or created unique roles for them to make them better than they actually were.
And, you know, he had players he probably carried through a few years and all that sort of stuff, but he also generally was really good at getting the best out of players who might have a limited capacity. And he generally was really good at also sort of ultimately recognising, you know what, this is what I need to fucking push this team into the next level. And if you look at the 2010 flag, that was when he finally conceded, let's get a ruckman, let's get a really hard midfield, and that was ball.
The final pieces to the puzzle.
And you see how that totally changed the complexion of that side. With the midfield, I mean, everyone says our midfield's like, you know, really deep. But I just don't think they're structured correctly.
No,
Trelaw and Pendles are doing too much of their own ball getting and all that, which you wouldn't want them to be getting their own ball. You'd want someone else to be getting the ball and feeding it to them and then capitalising on that.
Yeah. Their strengths are both receiving, evasiveness, speed, and delivery. And capitalise on that. They make them something that they don't need to be.
Well, you also, like I said, I mean, Pendles, I'm really curious how long his career will go, because I reckon the last few years, and very similar to Travis Cloak, he's been put in situations where he's just having guys hang off him, drag off him, tackle him, gang tackle him and all that. And he should never be in those positions. He should never be having to get his own ball and then create the next step after that and feed, you know, the players and all that sort of shit. Again, it's about who does the best things for the team and how to use them in those best positions that we're going to capitalise on and profit from. But anyway, I mean, we've sort of gone further afield than we wanted to talk about.
Generally, that was a preview. That's the sort of thing we'd like to see. We'd be excited to see this year is players play to their strengths and an injection of excitement into the side.
I think for me, it's not so much just excitement; it's just daring. Just fucking take the game on. You know,
that's exciting.
Break line. Yeah. Well, that would be really exciting.
Winning's exciting too. Just by the way,
you know, and I really hope that we do see some of the next generation come on. I really feel for poor Tyson Goldsack, who's done the ACL.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's a total shitfest. I mean, you imagine also for a player early in the season, that's it. You know, you're going, well, that's it. My year's done. But I'm also hoping that creates opportunity for someone like McLarty or
Krychek.
Yeah, Krychek or Magician, whatever his name.
Mr. Wizard.
Mr. Wizard.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Madigan. Amy Madigan? Jack Madigan.
Harrigan, that's me. I have no idea.
I don't know. Blairy, maybe.
Blair is always the go-to answer, so maybe it's Blair.
Yeah, but you know, I hope this creates some opportunities for other players to come up and stamp their, you know, imprint on the game. I'm really excited to see McLarty in the couple of preseason games.
Really do have a lot of exciting hope for him. He looks like he could be good. Oh. Silly hat and all.
Should wear like a little magician's hat from Harry Potter.
I was is he the magician?
No, it's Madigan.
Yeah.
Madigan.
Far from the Madigan crowd.
Madigan. Yeah. So, any last thoughts on the Hawthorn game? Sorry, going a little bit further afield.
Just win. Give us a good, positive start to the season. Let the beer taste better. Let the jokes be just as bad, but funny, because it's funny when we win. Just win the fucking game. That's not too much to ask.
I think for where Collingwood is in their rebirth, whatever you want to call it, their evolution,
devolution,
or could be, but wherever they are, and like, you know, obviously they've had pressures and talk about Buckley's resigning and all that sort of stuff. The first couple of games are pivotal for this club.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it earlier that it's a pretty rough start to the year. I mean, we've got probably great draw overall, but those first 6-7 games, you don't want to go into. You don't want to be 0-7 at the start. It's an uphill mountain.
I don't think they want to be 0-2. I think they really need
set themselves for a win at the start and just it's an injection of confidence.
And honestly,
talk the bullshit rhetoric that everyone comes out and says, it's the best I've seen as we're training, blah 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 blah. We've heard it all before. Action speaks louder than words. Come out, smash the fucking Hawks round 1.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, Hawthorn, they're at the end of a certain era and they're trying to, rebuild themselves. But they're at a stage where you think, okay, they are vulnerable. They're not the Hawthorn side of, the 80s. And GWS here is always a lot more vulnerable proposition. So those two games, to me, if I'm looking at the fixture, I'm looking at those and going, you should win those. You shouldn't. I understand it might be tough, but you should win those. You're not playing the Premier. You're not playing GWS over there. You're not playing Adelaide over there or whatever. You're playing a team which is rebuilding and which, it has struggled. It did struggle last year in Hawthorn. And GWS, which we know, does struggle on the road. They are two games Collingwood needs to pencil. And if you're 2-0, the mood is going to totally change. Yeah. And, the self-belief around the club will totally change. Because I don't want to fucking hear this thing, we're 2-6, but, we're not playing that bad. We just need to keep going at our structures and working at our systems. And then it'll all come good. No, it won't, because we've proven that won't.
Yeah, we've had years of this.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter if it comes good when you're 2-6, and even if you win the next fucking 10, which you haven't, but you're then still behind where you need to be. You need to be in front of this. These fucking fairy tale resurgences and all that might have worked in something like The Club, the movie.
Good movie.
A fantasy movie.
On the flag.
Fantasy movie, but generally it's not going to work in real life. You need to be from the start. You need to be in front of this. You need to shut up the fucking doubters. You need to shut up Scuttlebutt. And you need to set the bar here. And you need to beat Hawthorn seriously by 43 points, and then they need to go back into the rooms and Buckley and Pendlebury and all those guys and just say, this is fucking where we're aiming. This is where we need to be. And then if the next week they have like a little bit of a flat spot, anyone there just to say, we're not where we need to be, fucking lift your knees, start running and all that sort of shit, because I'm sick of the mediocrity. I'm not the only one.
We're all sick of losing.
Yeah, and we're sick of, honourable losses, and we're sick of trying, and being told, we're going somewhere. Okay, we all sort of mock Carlton for their catchphrase of, they know we're coming. I think Collingwood's catchphrase should be, they don't know we're coming. They don't know when we're going to arrive.
They don't care.
They don't care. Well, no one cares anymore. Fucking 4 years into, or 5 years into struggling in the wilderness, it's time.
As Goff said.
Yeah, it's time. And I love the club, but it's time.
Yeah. Enough of this shit.
Yeah, enough of this shit. You got supporters in the stands, some games, or watching television or whatever the case might be.
YouTube.
It's time. It's time to fucking start paying back some of the faith.
Extract the digit.
Yeah, that digit. And give us some hope. Not asking for a lot, just a glimmer of hope.
Don't make our job tough each week is what we're asking as well. Oh, that's a real job. It's just
It's a job, yeah.
It's a couple of clowns being idiots in front of a camera. But it'd be an easier thing to do on a weekly basis if we were talking about wins all the time. But let's just... I'd like to see some improvement this year. I mean, we keep threatening improvement. We just haven't really fulfilled that. I'd like to see some consistency and see the trend line pointing upwards.
That's the ideal word, consistency, because you have your great games where we beat a Geelong, or we go to GWS and beat them over there, and you think, oh, that's really good. And then they come back here and they play Carlton, who's fourth last, and they lose. Or whoever the case might be. They'll play a shit team and they'll lose. And it's like, well, which is the true Collingwood? And the thing is, people aren't even expecting this anymore. They just know it's going to happen. It's not like you're sort of sitting there. Like, it's become a running gag with a lot of Collingwoods. But you know, oh, good win, well. And you sit there with people who do tipping. Ooh, Collingwood's playing a top 4. I'll tip them then, and then they're playing bottom 14. I'll tip against them. It's like, well, that doesn't fucking make sense. You have to narrow the difference between the sides, between the performances. And the other thing too is, you know what, fucking just let me kick a goal. Just maybe a little bit.
So sticks, they're pretty far apart. Yeah. Really, you shouldn't fucking miss.
You shouldn't, just fucking pick someone in the... Pick Joffa, look at Joffa, kick at Joffa.
Unless, of course, he's up the other end. Don't look at him.
Yeah. But just pick someone in the fucking crowd, because there was games we lost last year because our kicking was just shit. Or, there was games where we should have been further ahead, and if we're further ahead, we probably would have won it, and we probably, broken the opposition and got momentum, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I mean, that's just things we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's it from us. If you like what you see and hear, subscribe.
It's down there.
It's down there somewhere.
And if you like what you see, it's over there. If you dislike it, just
hit like you.
Yeah. Think before you click though.
Yeah. If you have any comments, any questions, we will read out a few questions if you have them for us. And stay tuned, because we've got some good stuff coming up this year. Hopefully Collingwood. Yeah. Hopefully Collingwood has the same.
Stuff would be good.
Yeah, will be new. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you next week.